penetration theory was formulated by the psychologists Dalmas Taylor and Erwin Altman. This theory explains why meaning is not universal at all, depending on the person whom we are talking to. It describes the process of bonding and examines how human relationships are built and how they deteriorate depending on how you nurture it. One term you need to know in order to understand this theory is self-disclosure. According to Derlega, Metz, Petronia, and Margulis back in 1993, self-disclosure is the purposeful process of revealing information about oneself, because you cannot establish a relationship without self-disclosure. This theory is compared to onions and spheres. Onions because you peel them layer by layer in order for you to get to know them, and spheres because everyone has different layers of attitudes and behavior that makes up oneself.
Let us now move into the 4 stages of social penetration theory.
The first stage is what we call orientation stage, in which we show our superficial self. This layer is where you share the most basic information about yourself, your public image perhaps. The kind of personality you project in this stage is made up of very shallow information about yourself. This layer includes the way you dress, your public behavior, your likes and dislikes, and your hobbies. The second stage is the exploratory affective stage, which we show our middle self. This layer depicts our social attitudes, political and educational perspective, which aren't necessarily deep conversations with a person, just like a casual friendship relationship. The third stage is the affective stage, in which we show our inner self. In this layer, it's like you're entering the beyond. The topics you are discussing in this layer aren't that shallow. That's why you can consider the fact that the both of you are already bonded. You allow yourself to discuss vulnerability and you both have trust in each other. In this layer, we can say that you are already socially penetrated. The fourth stage is the stable stage, in which we show our core self. This layer is in which you show the real you. In this stage, you both share privacy, insecurities, and you can be vulnerable around them. It's like you trust them so much you can and willingly share the parts of yourself you aren't proud of. You're allowing them to hurt you. But the most rewarding part in this kind of intimacy is that you don't have to hide yourself from another person. In social penetration, 2 factors are important. It's the breadth and the depth of the conversation. Breadth is the number of various topics discussed, while depth is the increasing detailed information that shows the degree of intimacy of the conversation. But we must not forget that there is this thing called social depenetration, wherein relationships tend to break and fall apart when it's not properly nurtured.
An example of this theory is the Breakfast Club.
Keep eating your hand, you're not going to be hungry for lunch.
Excuse me a second. What are you babbling about? Well, what I'd said was I'm in a math club, a Latin club, and a physics club. Hey, Cherry, do you belong to the physics club? I'm here because Mr. Ryan found a gun in the locker. Why'd you have a gun in your locker? I tried. Gonna pull a fucking trunk on. The light's supposed to.
Because you want to see us. In the simplest terms, the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain and an athlete
and a basket case, a princess,
and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.